Hello guys, welcome back to UX Dive. I'm Jack. Today we have a special guest, the product designer at BK.
Hi guys, my name is Ines, and as Jack just mentioned, I'm the product designer at BK.
Alright, so Ines, so my first question is, so in university you did, I think, software engineering, right?
Yeah.
So what made you fall into product design?
For me, first, there's no big difference between product design, digital product design, and software engineering. I think it's a part of software engineering.
Okay.
But so when you know the value of software, building softwares and building technology, and you also know the value of applying design thinking and applying design to every aspect of your work. So when you combine both of them, I think it's a good thing to think that you can be a product designer. Yeah.
Okay, so for you it was that easy? Because I know some people just struggle.
It was not an easy transition, because even understanding the idea of product design, it's not something that I knew before. So it's progressive, but at the same time, when I was doing software engineering, I don't know, I felt like the coding side was becoming a bit boring, and I just liked the side of thinking for the customer, thinking for the stakeholder, and bringing up something, visual or something tangible that they can use, but it has to be developed by someone else.
Okay, so you mentioned something about coding. Do you still have the skills, or you just dropped it out?
No, I never dropped it out. Like, I like doing front end quite a lot, but back end isn't a thing that I've only done backend for school purposes.
Okay.
And I left it in school, but I kind of continue. When I'm talking about code, I'm more interested into front end and how you develop things that you created more than functionalities. I'm more into the way it looks and how the way it interacts. Yeah.
All right, so that's better. You design and then implement. That's a class.
Sometimes, but I would say I like both.
Okay. Yeah, also, so if I'm not mistaken, you started as product designer in Isimbi, right?
Yeah.
So what is the difference between working as a product designer in a startup like an Isimbi Lab and a huge company like BK?
I would say there's a lot of similarities actually, but since you've asked me the differences, I think the differences are within a startup, everything is very fast, so it's at the supersonic speed. Everything is fast, and sometimes you might miss something and don't get the chance to fix it right away. You can fix it maybe in the second phase or the third phase or whatever. But within a big company, another difference is it involves a lot of people, which is not the case for example, within a startup, there's a few people that you deal with. So it's easy to communicate and they can easily understand what you're saying. But when you're dealing with a lot of people, you have to have a lot of attention to detail, and you'll not just do things and they'll guess it by themselves. You have to go and detail everything so that all the stakeholders can understand. And I think that's the main difference. And the fact that in a company like BK, you know that you have a lot of customers. So you're a bit anxious and careful of what you're designing. Not that in a startup you're not, just that in a startup is you can try a lot of things, but in such a company where we have a lot of customers, so it's something very sensitive, and you also have to think of that and be careful about that.
Okay, I get it. So speaking of the customer base of BK, how do you feel designing something and being used by millions of people?
It's tense. It's really tense. It's not an easy job, but that's what I signed for. But it's at first, it's when you think of it, it makes you anxious, but as you're working on the project, it's a collective work. You work with a lot of people. You involve a lot of departments. For example, I'm a designer, but I don't make up things. I go in every department, or I have someone who helps me to go in every department and at least help me understand how the business work. And working with the team builds confidence, and so we're all kind of confident.
So how do you connect those dots? Like, say this, let's say marketing department needs this, the development department needs this. How do you connect those information and then come up with a solution?
Yeah, I'll say like there's a new very important person that helps a project team, like project managers or project owners.
Okay.
They're the people who really like, they are voices, so they really go and look for those things and they kind of interpret them in a very meaningful way. So by the time they bring it to you, it's not scattered as you're mentioning it. It's very structured and it makes sense, and it's in form of like user journeys, user stories. So it's really understandable and you can easily translate it in your design works. Yeah.
When you started working at our Summit Lab, I know it was a good startup. They were working into many designers. Like, what was your uniqueness which made them choose you?
I don't know, but I think, okay, let me try to think. Maybe at the time, so I think at the time they were looking for some, because they were having a lot of projects and they were looking for someone who can join the team and help, the design team get bigger and work on more projects. So I think first of all, the reason why they chose me, they wanted someone else on the team. But what they saw in me, I don't really know. But I think, but what I know is what I did when I got there. So what I did when I got there is I was open to learning and open to learning new things and open to learn from others. And that's what kept me there, because I learned from others. I learned a lot of things, and yeah. I did not answer your question, but
hey, it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So seems like you've been like a product designer for almost more than 3 years, right?
Yeah.
So what is the biggest good experience. So what is the biggest challenge you've faced so far? Which, if you have the power to train things, you can eliminate that.
So there's a lot of challenges, because every season there's something that I have to learn. And okay, learning is not a challenge, learning is something good, but so it's so the first thing I face as a problem as a designer in general is making something that people easily understand. Because sometimes you're in your head so much and you think what you're doing makes sense. and then at the end of the day, when you present it,
it's another story.
It's another story.
That happens a lot.
Yeah, so like learning, sometimes we talk about words like empathy, whatever, and it sounds like buzzwords, but as time goes, you really understand the value of those words. Like when you say like empathize with people, is being able like to do something that is meaningful for your clients, for the audience, so that was the main challenge. I used to do things that are, it was so much in my head, and it didn't make sense to everyone. But as I and also something that I gained along the process is working with a lot of people, within teams. So within teams, you learn to communicate your intentions, you learn to communicate what you're doing, and it is really, I think it's really great. And another challenge I faced was, the challenge I'm still facing is sometimes I get haunted by things that are missing. For example, like a missing, there's a step that I forgot and just comes back in my mind when I'm going to sleep, and I'm like, okay.
So I think that goes with deadlines.
Yeah, it goes with deadlines, like, or you have already shared something, but you remember there's something missing, and you're like, how am I going to fix this?
Okay.
And you find out that they've implemented it with those mistakes, and it's always a nightmare.
Taking it back, it's taking a long process and resources.
And the developers are mad at you, like, why did you do things that do not make sense? You see?
Well, speaking of the team, so assume you're a team of 7 designers. How does it feel like getting a feedback? Let's say I shared 5 feedback. So in total, you got, let's say, 25 comments. How do you feel handling all of those at once? Well, I like also big teams, but at some point, I think it's
scary.
Yeah, it's scary. How do you handle those kind of situations?
Well, to be honest, we get a lot of comments. So I would say we just record it. And the good thing is we don't have like crazy, like tight timelines. So it's always like, you know, like the way you plan sprints, and when there's something from a sprint that did not end, you can push it to the next sprint. So at least that makes us breathe. Even if like they give you like 100 comments, you'd be like, okay, I managed to fix this. Maybe the next sprint I'll fix this. So like, yeah, it's mostly that. You just communicate that you could not manage to fix all of the comments or the feedbacks, and then you get back to it the next time. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So, guys, that's what we prepared for you today. So, this is the lady behind the good work of BK. So, if you have any comment or any suggestion, feel free to drop it under the comments. So, see you in the next episode.